Hello, I'm the Zett, and today I'm going to present you Davee's Infinity project, aka the 6.61 permanent patch for the ME and Pro Custom Firmware. As you can see, this is a PSP 3000, and it's currently running the 6.20 or 6.20 LME Custom Firmware. I'm going to start from the 6.20 Custom Firmware, and we're going to finish on the 6.61 Custom Firmware. It doesn't really matter on which firmware you start, it's just recommended that you're starting on any 6.XX Pro, ME or LME custom firmware. So like 620, 660 or whatever. This is going to be released this weekend, most likely on Saturday night. And you will need a few things. You will need the files which you will get from Davee, the Infinity Firmware Builder, the Infinity Firmware Flasher, the bootloader configuration tool, and then you will need either the Pro Custom Firmware, you need the updater and the launcher, or you will need the LME Custom Firmware, where you also will need the installer and the launcher. What you will not need is the CIPL Flasher, so we're just going to delete it. The LME has no CIPL, so there's nothing to delete. And you will need a few other things, and I'm going to show you with PSP Filer which files you will need. I'm going to create a second video about this after the release, and the second video will show you how to do this on a PSP Go. This video is going to show you how to do it on a PSP 1000, 2000 or 3000. And the additional things you will need are that in the maker you will have to add the 661 PBP file, so pretty much the 6.61 firmware updater, and you will also have to add the 631 PBP, so the 6.31 firmware updater. I'm going to explain you why you will need the 631 as well, while the tool is preparing what it has to prepare, because we'll have to move one file after the first one is finished, and then we can finally flash the custom firmware. Okay, like I said, my device is currently running version 6.20. As you can see, I have no Curio Music Unlimited icon, so this is definitely pre-630. We're going to run the Infinity Firmware Builder first. It will take some time, so around 5 minutes or something, to create a data file, and this data file is necessary to run the firmware flasher, because the data file pretty much contains what we want to flash. So as you can read, it says build hybrid firmware, and I'm going to explain you why it's called a hybrid firmware. First we're going to start this, so this will take like 5 minutes to finish. And there's a simple reason it's called hybrid firmware, because the firmware we're going to flash is a mix out of the 6.31 firmware and the 6.61 firmware. In the end, the PSP will run, think, and any tool, software, or whatever you run on the PSP will also think it's running the version 6.61, but the base kernel of the PSP is in the end going to run version 6.31. The reason for this is pretty much that the 6.31 version has a bug or a security hole, or whatever you want to call it, which we're going to exploit, and this bug is pretty much that we can run unofficial code while the device is booting, so pretty similar to the 620 permanent patch, just that this bug is a bit more severe and we can better exploit this. This bug in 631 will allow us to run pretty much a custom firmware on boot on the version 6.31, but we want a 6.61 custom firmware. So Davee thought of using the old method that Dark Alex used to combine two firmwares into a hybrid firmware. Back in the day, when there was only the PSP 1000, the custom firmwares were all pretty much 1.5 kernel as a base, so the main firmware was pretty much 1.50, and then they had a secondary additional kernel which was, for example, 2.71 or 3.30 or 350 or whatever. So the old SE, OE and the very first M33 custom firmwares were all based on the 1.50 and had an additional kernel for the other firmwares like 271, 330, 350, etc. As of version 371, when the first version was released, which contained files for the PSP 1000 and the new PSP 2000, this got changed, and the new M33 and later on the Gen custom firmwares were using the main kernel of the whatever 371 or 500 and so on, and the 1.5 kernel was only additionally, it was optional and it only worked on the PSP 1000. Later custom firmwares like the ME, LME and Pro don't have this 1.5 kernel add-on anymore, but they have a small plugin called LEDA, L-E-D-A, and it enables you to run 1.5 kernel homebrews as well. Not as good as the 1.5 kernel add-on, but it's pretty close. Okay, the topic was hybrid firmwares. So Davee thought of using DarkAlex's method of the hybrid firmware and pretty much abused this bug in 6.31 to load the 6.61 firmware despite being the main kernel running on version 6.31. I'm not that good in explaining this, so Davee is going to post his own blog post about this. So if you want a technical explanation, a very deep technical explanation, just go read Davee's blog post this weekend. I'm just going to explain the general things. So even if you're not that technically versed, you should understand what I'm talking about. So just think of this as a mix of the 631 and 661 firmware, while the base is 631 and the main thing we're using is going to be the 661 though. So in the end we're kind of flashing the 6.61 original firmware, and then we're going to add the 661 custom firmware, and at the very end we're going to change the setting which makes the 661 custom firmware boot on its own while you start the device. And if you do not make this last change, the PSP is already starting the original 661 firmware. But keep in mind that this original 661 firmware is of course the 631 661 hybrid firmware. So technically speaking, the Infinity project of Davee is per se not a permanent patch by itself, but you can use it to pretty much run a permanent patch. In this video I'm going to demonstrate how you flash a permanent 661 PRO C2 custom firmware, and in my upcoming video, which I'm using the PSP Go, I'm going to show you how to flash a 661 LME 2.3 permanent fast custom firmware. The reason I'm making two videos is it's pretty much one video for the PSPs with the UMD drive, like the 1000, 2000, 3000, and then I'm going to make a video about the PSP Go. And because this is taking so long, the automatic screensaver turned on, so pretty much 5 minutes passed. Okay, this is nearly done, and when this is done we can either use the computer or we use PSP Filer, because we have to move one file from the builder folder to the flasher folder. And since I don't want to cut the video, use a USB cable and so on and so on and so on, I'm just going to use PSP Filer. You can of course, if you prefer to use a computer, use the USB cable, connect to the computer and move it via the computer. The file we need is inside of the maker folder and it is called data.mfc. I'm going to copy it into the, oh god, where is it? Into the flasher folder, copy. And this will take a small amount of time because the file we're copying is around 36 MB. On the PSP Go the file is smaller, but I'm going to explain this in the PSP Go video. Another reason I'm making two videos is because one video is going to show you how to install the PRO custom firmware, and the other video is going to show you how to install the LME custom firmware. By the way, if you're using a PSP 1000 or a PSP 2000, the old 2000, it's still recommended to use the CIPL method, like just install the normal ME custom firmware or the PRO Custom Firmware plus CIPL, and Infinity is pretty much only recommended for the new devices, so the TA88 version 3, so pretty much the 8C 2000s, any 3000 and the Go. Okay, now we're going to use the Infinity Flasher. You should only use the Infinity Flasher after you moved this data file, because otherwise it has nothing to flash. Start. And I recommend you to read this. I already read this the last time I installed this. Like, I tested it a few times, so I already know this text. And yeah, I'm just going to accept this. Okay, this is now going to install what we just created, this data file, and this is now pretty much installing the 661 hybrid custom firmware. Well, custom firmware is not really the proper term for it. Technically, it's just installing an original firmware, so it's not really a custom firmware, but it's also not a Sony firmware, like, because it's a hybrid firmware. It doesn't really matter what you call it. It's a hybrid firmware and it's going to be installed. And this does, of course, work on the PSP 3000, the 8C 2000, and the PSP Go. The PSP E1000, or the PSP Street, whatever you want to call it, it's the same, is currently not supported because the PSP E1000 does not have a native support for the version 6.31. And since we need a version 6.31, the E1000 is at the moment not supported, but Davee is creating a method to still use Infinity on the PSP E1000. Like, he created the method to force downgrade the 3009G to 620, despite the 09G only supporting 630 and higher. So if you have an E1000, you will still have to be patient about Davee's updated Infinity. But if you have a PSP 3000 or one of the doomed P2000s, then you will be able to use the Infinity Firmware Flasher to install a full permanent patch 6.61 custom firmware. Oh, and of course it works on the PSP Go as well. The PSP Go works as well. Okay, if I now press X to reboot, my device should reboot into the 6.61 firmware. If I made a mistake, it's going to be a brick, but I don't think I made a mistake. It's pretty simple to make this, to follow this. By the way, it's wiping my settings, so I will have to press circle to reboot my device. And don't worry about this red screen. In the official release, this red screen will not be there, and at the moment it's only for debugging reasons there. So the red screen is at the moment not harmful. The official release will not have a red screen. So if you use the official release and you still get a red screen, something might be wrong. Okay, English. Where the fuck is it? Berlin. Oh, by the way, this is the Japanese PSP 3000. That's why I have to use circle to confirm. But you can change this with the custom firmware, so it's not really a problem. And there we go, 6.61. First I'm going to change the... Can you see anything at all? Like, the white background is a bit annoying. Okay, once again, version 661. I hope you could see this because of the gray background, but who cares? Okay, so at the moment it's just the normal version 661. But you can now install the Pro or LME custom firmware. In this video I'm going to use the Pro custom firmware. And after you installed this, you can use a full permanent patch 661 custom firmware. And I kind of want to reduce the screen brightness because apparently it doesn't look that good in the video. Okay, there we go. Now it should boot into the Pro Custom Firmware. And it does. Now we're running 661 Pro C. And I'm going to use the recovery menu and change a few settings. For example, what the fuck? For example, I'm going to swap X and circle because it's kind of annoying to use circle to confirm because I'm not used to it. It's the Japanese standard. Okay. Now if I reset the VSH, it should apply the new setting and then I should be able to use X to confirm. Just saying, on your normal, most likely European or Northern American PSP, it will not fuck with your X and circle. This is just because this 3000 is originally from Japan. That's why I changed this upon wiping the system settings. So if I now use X, I can confirm. Okay. The third thing we have to do is use the bootloader config. And you only have to use the bootloader config after installing the Pro or LME Custom Firmware. So yeah, the bootloader config will look like this. It will welcome you to Infinity. You will have the ability to upgrade your Infinity core from either your memory stick or the internal storage on your PSP Go. And you can also use the internet. In this video I'm using the beta version R10. The public version might be a different one, and the utility might look a bit different in the public version as well. So this is pretty much beta software, but I'm allowed to show it, so I'm going to show you this. Okay, install modules. I can either install the Pro module or the ME module. You should only install the module of the custom firmware you're currently running. So I'm currently running the Pro Custom Firmware, so I'm installing the Pro Custom Firmware module. It now has this little star. This might change in the official release, like a checkbox or whatever. And after you applied this, you can just leave the bootloader, go back to the XMB, and if you now reboot your PSP, it should automatically boot into a 6.61 Pro Custom Firmware. Okay, the last thing I'm going to do is fake the region from Japan to Europe, because my devices are usually European, so it's kind of annoying to have the Japanese settings on my PSP. Also, this video is long as fuck, but I wanted to show the full process, and that way, as you can see now, we have this Music Unlimited shit, which only exists as of 635. There we go, 661 Pro C. And now I'm going to fully shut down the PSP. And what's the easiest way to completely shut down the PSP? You remove the battery. Now if I put it back in and start the PSP, it should automatically boot into the 661 Pro C custom firmware. This will of course also work with the LME custom firmware. I'm going to showcase you the LME custom firmware in my next video, and I will showcase this on the PSP Go. Who cares about the time? And there we go. As you can see, I removed the battery, and the first thing that the PSP booted was still the 661 Pro C custom firmware. So once again, this hybrid firmware was made by Davee, and his Infinity project took a long time to make, but it's definitely worth the wait. And if you want to uninstall Infinity for whatever reason, you will have to use the Chrono Switch version 7 downgrader. It is recommended to not use the official updaters. It's recommended to not use any kind of NAND dumps or whatever, because this is a special manufactured hybrid firmware, and you should only uninstall and install it with the official tools. So the official tools would be the firmware builder, the Infinity Flasher, the bootloader config, and the Chrono Switch version 7 downgrader. I don't have it on my PSP at the moment, but Davee recently upgraded his downgrader from version 6 point whatever to version 7, and that's pretty much it. You should only use the official tools to install and uninstall Infinity, otherwise you may have a problem. Infinity also comes with an unbrick mechanism, which I'm going to showcase in another video. But so you know, if you semi-brick your PSP while it's running Infinity, there's a high chance that you can successfully unbrick it with the unbrick mechanic that's built into Infinity. So yeah, this is pretty much the video about what we used to call 661 permanent patch. It is not really a 661 permanent patch, but it exactly works like one, so it's okay to call it this. So yeah, this was Davee's Infinity project. Check my blog post on Wololo for more information about this. If you want more technical information about this, check Davee's upcoming blog post on his lolhacks website. And so far, this is it. I'm the Zett, and see you soon.